So tonight I'm reading you stories from my new book, Zigzag Zog, and you can check out all my books on my website, which is www.g'daysally.com. That's GDAYSALLY.com. Now this story is called The Running Rabbit and the Rascally Rabbit. You could always tell the difference between the running rabbit and the rascally rabbit because the running rabbit carried a big heavy basket on his back. But the rascally rabbit had no basket and was so lazy that he would not even stand up. And I know you want to know what their names are, so I'll tell you. The running rabbit's name is Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, and the rascally rabbit's name is Lazy Left Foot Larry. And in case you're wondering what Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, had in his big basket, I'll tell you. Every morning, Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, would get up as early as the sun to run over to his vegetable patch, where he grew all manner of wonderful, tasty treat vegetables. And because he was such a good gardener, his vegetables grew and grew, so that every morning, after he had weeded and watered all his plants, he would load up his big basket with juicy and tasty vegetables that he had picked from his garden that day. And every day he would have to run right past Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit on his way home to his burrow. And more often than not, Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit would put out his left furry foot and try to trip up Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, so he could steal some of those tasty treat vegetables for himself. That way, he did not have to do any work to get his food. Awful, isn't he? Well, up on high, in one of the tallest trees in the forest, was a cunning old owl called Horatio Hoot Horn. And Horatio Hoot Horn, like all owls, was a very wise owl, and he watched and he wondered why Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, didn't find another way past Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit on his way home to his burrow, so that he would not be tripped up by the Rascally Rabbit each time. So one day he asked him that very question. And Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, stopped in his tracks for a minute and a second to answer him. The forest trees are so thick here that I have to go right past Lazy Left Foot Larry each time to get to my burrow, he said. And I don't think Lazy Left Foot Larry would know how to get his own food, so I just expect him to steal some of mine. Well then, said Horatio Hoot Horn, why don't you just give him some every day on your way home? Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, put down his basket, as he could see that this was turning into a long conversation. If I did that, he said, Lazy Left Foot Larry would never move from his spot, and he would just get lazier and lazier, and one day he would not be able to move at all. At least when he sticks out his leg to trip me up, he has to move from his usual spot, and that way he gets a little exercise every day. Horatio Hoot Horn thought for a minute and a second. But you are not doing Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit any favours, because that tiny bit of exercise he does to trip you up is very little, and it's not enough to keep him healthy. Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, continued on his way home, and sure enough, Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit tripped him up again and stole some of Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit's tasty treat vegetables. Horatio Hoot Horn was worried about Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit. He didn't think that Lazy Left Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit should steal his vegetables every day. And he was concerned that the Rascally Rabbit was getting fatter and fatter with no exercise. So Horatio Hoot Horn decided that he would do something to change this situation. Now Horatio Hoot Horn had a very best friend who was a horse. And I know you're wondering what the horse's name is, so I'll tell you. Horatio Hoot Horn's horse friend was called Dancing Donkey Dan. So Horatio Hoot Horn flew over to the field where Dancing Donkey Dan was grazing and told him about his worries about Gravelly Great Ground Gardener, the running rabbit, and Lazy Left Foot Larry, the Rascally Rabbit. The horse looked up from the juicy green grass he'd been eating. Well, I would like to eat some of Gravelly Great Ground Gardener's tasty treat vegetables myself. And as I always jog on a jaunt through the forest every day, I could let him ride on my back with his basket full of tasty treat vegetables. Maybe he could give me some to eat in return. And that way, Lazy Left Foot Larry would not be able to trip up Gravelly Great Ground Gardener with his basket full of tasty treat vegetables every day. and the rascally rabbit would have to go out and find his own food and get some exercise. So that very morning, Horatio Hoot Horn flew over to Gravelly Great Ground Gardener the Running Rabbit's green and lush garden and told him about his plan. Gravelly Great Ground Gardener the Running Rabbit thought that might work. So then along came Dancing Donkey Dan, the horse, and Gravelly Great Ground Gardener the Running Rabbit loaded up his basket with tasty treat vegetables and climbed up with it onto the horse's back. As they reached the spot where Lazy Left-Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit lay, Gravelly Great Ground Gardener the Running Rabbit waved to him and laughed, as this time that rascally rabbit could not reach out with his furry left foot and trip him up. Lazy Left-Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit looked astonished as the horse galloped past him, with Gravelly Great Ground Gardener the Running Rabbit and his basket of goodies racing past him too. And watching from the top branch of his tall tree was Horatio Hoot Horn, chuckling to himself at the look on the face of Lazy Left-Foot Larry the Rascally Rabbit. You know, Hawaii is a microcosm of the world, with people here from all over the world, and Noa Noa Hawaii is a microcosm of the traditional arts of the world, with beautiful patterns from many countries. They've been in business for 38 years with wonderful Hawaii-designed batik clothing. Their hand-dyed and handmade clothes have patterns that are based on traditional kapa and tapa designs from Hawaii, Polynesia, Micronesia, Indonesia, even New Zealand and Africa. So check out all of the wonderful items that Noa Noa has on their website, which is www.noanoahawaii.com. So I'll be back next week, so bye for now.